Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nice to Meet You. This is your host, Simone, and this is a podcast of conversations with friends and strangers where we talk about life and lessons learned along the way. Today, I have for you another highlight episode, and this highlight will be focusing on parenting. As you all know, I am not a parent yet, but I do aspire to one day. Be a mother, and we have a whole bunch of mothers and fathers on this podcast today talking about the fun parts and the struggles of parenting, things that they hope that their child will learn, things that they're worried about while raising their child, and just a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, let's get into this. First, I talked to Annie, and she tells me her favorite and least favorite parts of motherhood, and also her challenges with being a stay-at-home mom and how she ultimately decided not to be a stay-at-home mom. So, what's your favorite part of being a mom?
Favorite part of being a mom is probably children's books. And it's not that like my kids are about to go to bed in 15 minutes, woohoo, my day is almost over. It's just like it's such a joy to read such lovely stories and have an excuse to look at such wonderful illustrations every
Yeah.
night. I love having them snuggled up with me. Like if motherhood could consist of 7:30 to 7:45 every single night for me, like I would just be in heaven. Oh my gosh, I love reading books with my girls.
Mhm. So, what's your least favorite part?
the the ridiculous fights that they get into about
Oh.
nothing. The one that is driving me insane right now is the what I've been calling the no yes fight. Um, so Marion so my girls are Marion and Betty, and one or the other of them will say something. So Marion will say something like, "Okay, no school," because it's not a school day, and
Mhm.
or she's hoping that it's not a school day when it really is. And Betty will say, "Yes, school," and Marion will say, "No school," and they'll go back and forth like that for a little while. But then it devolves, and Marion will go, "Okay, no, yes, school," and Betty will, "Yes, yes, school, no, no, school, yes, yes, school," and it's just like, and they just go back and forth like, no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes, and I'm like, what are you even? Do you even know what you're yelling about anymore? You're just repeating the same two words over and over and getting angrier, and it just drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of those like, oh, little silly fights that you're like, really, like this is the hill that you're gonna die on.
Do you remember getting into fights with your siblings about that? Like with things like that?
I don't, but mom has a story she likes to tell when me and my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, got into apparently a very similar fight. There was a building in Charlottesville, I think it was a bank, I'm really not sure, that had an apple on it. And whenever we passed it on 29, which is the main corridor through Charlottesville, so we went on it often doing errands, I would say, "There's the apple." And Robbie would go, "Orange." And mom said if she didn't catch it fast enough, I'd be like, "No, Robbie, it's an apple." And he'd go, "Orange." And he would just say orange over and over until mom said I would be like screaming with my legs like sticking straight out from my car seat, like veins turning purple in my head, going like, "It's an apple." And again, it's like, who cares? Who cares? It's
Yeah.
like it's a icon on a building. It is not that big a deal. So
Yeah.
so I think it's just something kids do.
Yeah, siblings. I feel like me and my brother, we were like 2 years apart too, and we used to argue a lot when we were younger.
Oh, and there's a
But
little
then,
noodle. Hey, hold on one second. Hey, Betty, can you
okay.
go get Daddy? So you said you and your brother used to get in fights like that too?
Yeah, I just argue. I don't even know what we ever argued about, but I just remember like for like 2 years where you just argue all the time.
Yeah. Well, and what's the age difference between you two?
2.5 years.
Yeah, it's like the closer you are, I think the more the more prone to argument there's
Yeah.
going to be. Yeah, it's just like you guys are just too close, too close
Yeah.
for your own good.
There's not enough like room for maturity in that like small spans of time.
Well, yeah, because Carmen, my sister, is 4 years younger than me, and she was practically like a plaything. I just enjoyed carrying her around and like, have any excuse to play with toys for longer than was like cool. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that the close in age siblings, it's really tough.
Did you ever want to be a teacher?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think I recognized early on that I did not have that amount of patience.
Mhm.
So yeah, in fact, I thought that I wanted to be a full-time stay-at-home mom at least until my girls were both in kindergarten, but
Mhm.
I have found that I'm actually a much better mom focusing on first the farm and now this blog, which is evolving into a larger project,
Mhm.
and having that dedicated time for myself and my projects, and my work. Um, and then being able to focus more fully on them when I do have them here. So they go to, well,
Mhm.
Marion's in preschool and Betty's in daycare. Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm much less frustrated doing
Yeah.
that. And I think like it's great if people want to be a stay-at-home mom. I have like a whole new respect for them, basically like being a stay-at-home mom dropout myself, but also like fully support moms going into the workforce because I didn't realize how much of my own self-worth I derived from it.
Mhm. What made you want to be a stay-at-home mom at first?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and like I said, she was amazing at it. She just I'm sure she had hard times doing it, but she just made it look so easy, and she always had so much fun, and just the way she talked about it, she remembered those years very fondly, being
Mhm.
at home with us, and she was always excited to like have snow days. We were the house, like mom would go around, she had a four-wheel drive Suburban, so she would like literally go around and like collect extra kids to bring to her house on a snow day. So we would have like four or five friends over on any given snow day, and it was just like it was so much fun. I figured I'd be just like mom.
That does sound awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, but yeah, it's harder than it looks.
I definitely resonate with Annie because I feel like I would want to try the stay-at-home mom route, but I also really don't feel like it's suited for me. But I do really enjoy the parts of like, the cooking and cleaning and well, not the cleaning. But I guess the parts of stay-at-home momhood that we see are usually just the cute ones. Next, we're going to talk to Alicia about mommy guilt, and she actually tells us her birth story and also some of the fears that she has for her daughter as she grows up. So being a mom,
Yes.
what is the hardest part about that?
Mommy guilt. It's a real
Okay.
thing. It's because here's the thing. It's like you want, like you have to hustle to make sure that your baby is good, your kids are good, and it's like all this time. It's like, but at the same time you feel bad because it's like, damn, like I should really be home spending time with you.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like you're missing so many moments. Like I just told you, I quit my job, and there were so many moments that I missed, like so many teeth that came in because I was working full time.
Yeah.
Like, and my commute to work was hella long for no fucking reason. Like I'm traveling all the way from Odenton to Tyson's. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and I took the train. My commute.
No.
Yeah.
That like adds like an extra hour. Like.
Yeah. And I live right off of BW Parkway.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a lot of time, like I was missing that. And at the end of the day, like the thought of like, I'm doing this for you stays in the forefront, but it's just
like she doesn't understand that.
She doesn't, but I feel like at the same time she does. My baby's very smart. Tyler's so smart. And I think she knows it, but she doesn't realize how smart she is. So like she knows like when I'm at work, I'm at work. I check on her when I am at work, and then when I'm home.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes like my mommy guilt now like really kicks in because you know, like I was just telling you, she's been super clingy lately. So I'm out here running 2 businesses. And I'm just like, I'm over here literally trying to reprice stuff, you know, rebrand. And she's like all in my face. I'm like, I love you, but I just need to like get these coins for us. Yes. But you just don't want to be too connected and too connected to what you have to do, and then too disconnected from your child. It's a really hard balance, but you make it work at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm like trying to figure that out. I want to have a baby, so like
I want all the babies. I want all of the babies. Like literally,
save some for the rest of us.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And literally right after I had her, I was like, wow, I want second baby.
Wait, so your childbirth, I guess, couldn't have been.
I had a C-section.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was, originally, Tyler is a Taurus. She's very stubborn. So I was supposed to have her on May 9th, which is my late grandmother's birthday. And then she decided to come a week late. The issue with it was that she was not ready to budge. Like, I wasn't dilated far enough. Like, the doctors were trying to give me medicine to, like, make me dilate further. And I told them, I was like, I know my body. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
They were like, well, you know, we just want to make sure that we don't do a C-section because you could get blood clots. You could get this. You could get that. And I was like, okay. But I was like, I know my body. And then I ended up having a C-section, and, you know, Hey Oz played in the background. She was actually still asleep when, you know, everything was going down.
So cute.
And she didn't even cry. Like, so she's such a G, right? Yeah. Like, literally all she did was sneeze. And she didn't cry until it was time to take her temperature. Yeah, so she's an angel. For sure.
I'm like scared of that part.
Yeah, right. That was the one thing I was worried about, like actually like pushing. Yeah. I was like, y'all, I can't do it. I literally remember the day that I was not discharged, but like induced into the hospital, and they were like, telling me all this stuff. They're like hooking up IVs and shit, and I was like, I couldn't even hear them because I was like, I'm really about to have a baby. Like, this is really going the fuck down. And my mom was just sitting in the corner, and she was like, Alicia, pull your shit together. And I was like, I'm trying. I was like, I'm trying, Michelle. I'm trying. I was like, this is really scary. She was like, well, you're about to have a baby. You're ready. And I was like, okay, you're right. She's really good at making me pull my shit together. So
that's how moms are.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite story to tell?
Ooh, what is my favorite story to tell? Wow. Honestly, I would say like how I gave birth to my daughter.
Word. Yeah. Well, we heard that story.
Yeah. Just because she's such a G and I love it.
Yeah. So they had to take her out, I guess? Like, it was like at a certain point?
Like, here's
so your water had broken already?
No. Like, because I wasn't dilated far enough. The thing is, like, the hospital will always, like the nurses, the doctors, they'll always try to persuade you to not get a C-section, but ultimately, like I said, they don't tell you this, but you actually have a choice in what kind of delivery you can have. So, like I said, I knew my body. I listened to my body. I was like, y'all need to get this baby the fuck out of me. Like, let's go. I was like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. Yeah. Get her out. Like, yeah.
Even though she's only one, like, you mentioned that, like, both of you guys are stubborn. Yeah. Does that, like, do you see yourself, like, coming to a head?
100%. She does not listen. I mean, she does, but she doesn't. Like, it depends on the day, I want to say, because we're both Gemini moon, so we're hella stubborn. Okay. Right, hella stubborn. So, like, I'll be, like, she'll get into something, she'll know she's not supposed to be in it. And then she goes right back. I'm like, Tyler, I need you to not get into this, thanks. And then here comes the third time, I'm like, stop it. And now it's to the point where, like, she fusses at me. So she'll be like, stop. And she says, stop it. I'm like, and she has the finger and everything. She'll be like, Mom? Like, I'm like, all right, whatever. I just let it ride. We definitely butt heads from time to time, but it's all love. I'm her favorite person. So that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
What's your, I want to ask, like, what are you scared about, like, preparing her for, like, as a mom? Like, what point in her, like, I guess, what is it, like, child rearing? Like, is that what you call that? Like, what point in her child rearing are you fearful of?
At any age?
Yeah, at any age.
Okay, a couple things. One, death. That's, like, the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm awful with loss.
Yeah.
And because she's really big on energy and she clings to people very quickly. Like, she likes you, like, you'll know. And she just sticks with you. I'm worried about how she'll feel when she experiences her first big loss. Yeah. No matter who it is. Yeah. Two, I'm worried about dating because I don't trust that easily anymore. Yeah. And that is, like, she is literally my life. So I'm worried about heartbreak for her. And I think those are probably the biggest two things. She's very independent. She's very strong-willed.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely going to take her far. So outside of that, like, I don't have anything else to worry about.
Right. So what is your advice for dating? What are you going to tell her?
Ooh, take your time. Take your time for sure. And just don't fall in love with potential. Fall in love with the person.
Yeah.
And fall in love with the right person. Yeah.
I think Alicia brings to light a lot of things that I had not thought about yet, as far as like, well, mommy guilt in general. And then also just like heartbreak for your child. Oh my God, how do you handle that? You know, like your heart is broken also. Whew. So next we're going to listen to Donald chat about the super high standard that he set for himself to be an example for his sons. And also just the moments that sort of just make you smile, spending time with your kids. So what's your biggest dream right now?
My biggest dream, I don't know. I think my biggest dream is to really figure out how to impress my children.
Wow, that's a big feat. I mean, they're young right now, so like they probably look at you as like God anyway, right?
I don't know. I think they look at me sometimes, and then sometimes look at me like I'm just some dude in the house. But like I think like, Mom, who's this dude? This man. Mama, stop that man. Who's that man? But like I don't know. Like I think for me, because my father was in and out of like my life, and looking at like fatherhood and other people's like situations and watching TV, I dreamt up this idea of like kind of what a father is and who he will be. But like because I'm in the history, like most of the people that you read about are people who like made some kind of like statement that impacted the world in some way. That I look at that as almost like what is needed to actually impress my kids. I have to like be somebody in history that my kids will like look back and say, he just wasn't some dude on the couch.
So what's one lesson that you want to make sure that you teach your kids?
That you can do whatever you put your mind to. It sounds so cliche, but like you can put but there'll be 1,000 no's in this world, and then everybody will doubt you until they see your finished product.
I feel like the most important thing is just asking the question first. Like, I feel like a lot of people doubt themselves, and then they don't even get to the point where they ask the question to be like, to get the access that they need. And like, if you just ask like, hey, is it okay if I do this? You know? Yeah, but it's useful.
I also think that's also like one of our barriers. I mean, I think that's a huge barrier, right? So it's like, we have to ask permission of ourselves to actually go out and do something that enhances our lives.
Yeah. Did you always want to be a dad?
Yeah. I was going to be a dad. That was always what I wanted to do.
What was it about, like, being a dad that you, like...
I just think, like I'm not going to knock this man up. But, like, I just think my father did a terrible job. So, like, it was like... No, but I will say this. I just reflect on it. I think he did a good job when he was... I mean, he did a good job of being, like, a father. I don't know how to explain it. He did a good job of, like trying to, like... I don't know.
He did a good job.
I don't know. He did something.
Trying to be a father?
I don't know what he did right, but something he did right at one point. But everything else was just terrible. So like, when I think about it, I'm like, I wanted to just, again, like, be a father and just do everything I could to be right. Like,
yeah.
I wanted to, like, create the experience for my kids that's different from mine.
Okay.
Like, my son will go to space camp. It's already set in my mind.
How old are they?
3 and 6.
Okay. What's your favorite, like, story about them?
I don't know. You know, so it's funny because when I think about my kid, like, I don't really have favorites kind of things. Mm-hmm. I have like moments, right? So like my son, like my oldest son Langston, he like is into like, he's super smart. He's a genius. He's much smarter than me. Like, will be, moving forward as well. Is like he is into like technology. We were watching this show called BattleBots last night, and we're like betting on the games on who like will win. So we ended up tying for like first place. But like for him, like if he ties, he wins. So like, he's like rubbing it in my face, like I won. I'm like, no, like we're tied. And he's like doing all this stuff. He's taunting, he's dancing, and then he like comes and shakes his butt in front of me. And he's like, nah, kiss my butt. And I'm like, that you're funny. You're funny. At the same time, my other son, Carter, like, he lost he didn't win anything. But he's kind of like, I don't care. Like, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for like allowing me to be like in the family. You know, so all this going on, and my wife is like, so she's like was in second place, I guess, third place. So she was there too. So she was like, you know, like, yeah, it was just a fun experience, all right? But like, my sons are like, they're just crazy. They'll be better men than me.
Donald runs a nonprofit called Soul Programs, which focuses on bridging the socioeconomic gap for students who are east of the river in wards 7 and 8 in DC. And it really focuses on, you know, feeding the next generation and trying to give them all the resources that they need in order to be successful. And that also like translates into how he parents his children, obviously, with him talking about wanting to be a role model and also just preparing them to be better than he is. So next we're going to talk to David, who tells us what you should do, like literally, like if you quote unquote love your kid. So what's it like being a parent?
Being a parent is cool. It's cool. It really is. It's easier than a lot of people think. I know I'm saying this as the dad, but I had him for a lot of time in his life. So I've, you know what I'm saying, cared for him my share. And I really, you know what I'm saying, you really just have to understand your kid, not treat him as a kid all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, act like they know something sometimes, and you know what I'm saying, they're gonna have
they will surprise you,
yeah, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna surprise you, but it's like from the jump, I've, you know what I'm saying, like talked to my son, you know what I'm saying, like he's older than he was, you know what I'm saying, like explain stuff to him like he's older than he was, you know what I'm saying, tried to give him, you know what I'm saying, like little responsibility, you know what I'm saying, not no, he don't have like a lot of chores and nothing like that, you know what I'm saying, like he lives good, you know what I'm saying, it's like I'm not one of those like traditional parents, like I don't whoop him, you know what I'm saying, when I can just take his game away, you feel me, that's way more effective, but yeah, but also I have boys, like, so that's, I would say it's probably a little easier because they're gonna act up a little less when they try and be like you, and they rather not disappoint you. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. You feel like
a daughter would want to disappoint you, or like?
Nah. It's not even that. I feel like she wouldn't understand on the same level. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's why you have to take the time to understand your kids. You know what I'm saying? I play with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I get him Amari, because the other one lives in Connecticut, but Amari, you know what I'm saying? Like I take the time when he's there to like play board games with him. You know what I'm saying, like, listen to his music with him, you know what I'm saying, dance, you know, stuff like, like that, because he loves Fortnite, so, like, we'll do dance battles, you know what I'm saying, like, the fact that he sees me doing that, you know what I'm saying, it's just, like, it means the world to him, to be real with you. So you just gotta take time to just do this stuff and realize that it can be fun for you too, you know what I'm saying? Especially like if you love your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like if you love your kid, like, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing them have fun should, you know what I'm saying, make you smile anyway. So just do what makes y'all both happy. That's my best advice.
Yeah. So what's the most important lesson you feel like you need to teach your kids?
Ain't gonna be no most important lessons. There's gonna be endless lessons, so I can give you a few. Not to dim themselves for nobody else's light. To listen to people, but not get taken advantage of. What else? I don't want to give them like too many boundaries. I want to be one of those parents that like gives them enough game
like
that
like Will and Jada.
Yeah. I want to give them enough game early so that they'll have the capacity to make their own decisions wisely and then take my mistakes into account. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is that kind of like letting them make mistakes, or?
Yeah. And to be real with you, I'm saying this, and he's not even at that age where he's gonna be making. He's 7 right now, so. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't even say this with certainty, but I mean that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like you always hear people say the more you restrict them, the more they lash out anyway.
Yeah.
You know? But it's not even just that. I mean that's definitely a thing, but you shouldn't look at it just like that. I feel like. How do I put it?
I think I kind of get what you're trying to say. It's like the more experiences you let them have, the better off they'll be.
Yeah, alright, so, yeah, but also, if you shield them from something completely, when they do lash out, they're not going to know how to handle it. They're not even going to know your perception on it because you ain't even talk to them about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at least if you expose them to something, you're able to have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? And the way that I keep it consistent in the way that I talk to them as an adult so that I'm not, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, this isn't cool. I'm like, this is why you shouldn't do this, you know what I'm saying? Because if you do this such and such and such, then you're not going to be able to go to work every day. You know what I'm saying? And then you're not going to be able to, don't you want to have a girlfriend or wife? You're not going to be able to have a family. You're going to be living out on the streets. So just think about that. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know what I'm saying? Not just like, no, don't do this. This is bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just like breaking it down. Like I break a lot of stuff down.
This is a bad decision and this is why.
Yeah, but I don't make it too much. But it's just like,
That's an important.
It's an important thing to let your kids know like anybody. You can't just tell somebody something without giving them a reason and expect them to always do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you know they meet you halfway, you know what I'm saying, then it's just like in the back of their mind when you telling them something, it's just like, well, I know he has a reason. You know what I'm saying? He's not just telling me this.
Mm-hmm. And I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I really appreciate David saying you need to really explain yourself to your kids, or explain the reasons behind why things are bad. Because I feel like a lot of us grew up with just the strict rule of like, this is how you act and this is what you're supposed to be, instead of understanding why certain habits were harmful. So I think that's really important. Next we talked to Nikki, who just talks about like her latest hobby of just taking care of her son and really getting to know and understand him.
So for me right now, it's really about my son. I mean, I love being with my son. I love learning with him and showing him new things. And he's at that age now where he's, running around, kicking the ball. And it's a good experience to be a mother. I'm so blessed to have this opportunity. And I think any free time that I had, in the past was really just writing. I'm grieving. So, I mean, that's a process within itself. And I think my hobbies were focused on just my mental health and being around my son. I mean, that's pretty much it for the time being, especially with COVID and being inside.
What is it like, I guess, being a mother to a son?
Mm. Sometimes you can't put it into words. I mean, there's some days where you're stressed out and you want to rip your hair out and you need 4 cups of coffee. And then other days just fly by and you're like, wow, you're looking, at him while he's sleeping and you're like, thank you, Lord, for another beautiful day. And you got to love every moment. because they grow so fast. I could cry right now. They grow so fast, and you got me, girl.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. My dad not being here is hard.
Mm.
So it's loving the little things,
Yeah.
the little moments that matter.
Yeah, I haven't been blessed to be a mother yet, but I hope that I do get the opportunity.
It's such a blessing. It is definitely a journey. But it's a beautiful process. It really
And I
is.
just like imagine like I don't know, because I feel like the first thing you think about like when you're becoming a parent is I'm gonna do it like this because this is what my
Right,
parents did and that didn't work.
right. It's not like that at all. Not at all. I mean, it's a day by day thing. You really just focus on the love that you can provide.
Mhm. Um, so what are some things, if you don't mind sharing, like some things that like when you were growing up that you said like this is what I'm going to change in my household when I have one?
Right. Um, with my dad, he was more like the stern kind of just businessman. He was always, working. That man worked until he fell over literally, and we had to take him out of work. So I think a lot of growing up, I saw positive energy from my parents. So I didn't see things within my home, thank God, that I would be like, oh, I have to change that. It was more outside my home. I learned so much from people who were dealing with abusive parents or single family homes. And I learned from my friends and, what they went through. I was the safe house. So a lot of my friends ran to my house.
Hmm.
And I think I learned to do what my parents did, and that is to help people in any way, shape, or form, and just be that person that people can go to. So I can't really answer that. I mean, it's hard to say because I've learned from other people, and I would change what happened in their house
Yeah.
versus, abuse or neglect. I mean, some friends, they didn't have their parents at all, either parent. So, I mean, you have to just cater to the people that don't have that support. And thank God I did, because who I am today is going to help so many people.
Hmm. And I definitely feel you on that. It's like looking at the life that you had, it
Hmm.
would be like, I don't want to say it like this, but I kind of have to say it. It would be disrespectful not
Yes.
to give that back to other people.
Yes. I agree. And I say that to myself every day. I mean, I 100%. Who would I be to have such a blessed life, a beautiful, uh, just process? And yes, I've been through things. Who hasn't? I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I was perfect or I've ever been perfect. My life's been perfect, but I have been blessed with certain things that people sometimes take for granted and don't do anything to impact the world. I'm here to impact the world. I want to help so many people. And the day that I die, I will be happy that Clark's mission lives on.
Nikki also brings up the fact of legacy in parenting, where she really wants her son to, look at her as a role model and grow into something that's even greater than she aspired to be. Lastly, we're going to listen to a clip from the Entrepreneurship Panel, which features Donald again and also Camille, where they talk about what having a business means to them and as a parent, like what example they're trying to put forward, but also looking at their kids and seeing what they could do that's outside of the normal way of how we used to think about and do things as far as the school to college to career pipeline.
Ask my next question, which is so Camille, you mentioned earlier like your son being able to see you like, make your own business and like be successful, and like using that, him being able to like use that as like inspiration for himself. And since you all have kids, I wanted to ask about like just, well, not all have kids, but since two of you have kids, I wanted to ask about just like what it's like having a child and a business, and like what that adds to the table as far as like an entrepreneur.
Well, for me, I think that it's encouraged me to pay attention and to be present with him.
it's difficult because I feel like I'm always in my phone with my business. I'm working 24/7. I'm always looking for a response from the media, or, there's always a pitch that I can send out for a client. So I have to be careful in that way. However, I think that it's allowing me to see him differently because I'm always interested in what is he doing? What is he like? It's like I'm looking for him as well. What can I invest in? So I think that it's a new generation, and I think that it's beautiful that now we can, give our kids these options. We can foster their talents and, make it lucrative for them as well, So that's definitely been the fun part of it for me. I've been saying for a while I need to get him a YouTube show. Already, it's amazing that you can be an entrepreneur, as a child, and start building that income for yourself. So I'm definitely, I don't know if that's something that he'll even want to step into, but the simple fact that he'll have that option or something that I can even put away for him. Those are, my goals for him or at this early age.
Yeah, so for me, so I have two sons. One of them wants to be like, the next Barack Obama. Other one wants to be like a dinosaur. And, so with them both, they're great. And it's, I try to, let's say I'm getting some kind of award or some kind of public thing I'm doing. I try to invite them, and even my oldest son, invite him to be on the stage with me a lot of times if I'm doing something of that nature, because I want him to experience that in a way that a lot of young Black boys don't get a chance to. I think for me, like being an entrepreneur and a parent is, I don't know. I don't know what they might want to do in the future, but what I want them to see is that their father was an individual who like set out on the path to do something and did it. And then also like the network of people that I've met along the way, they have access to, because they've met some phenomenal people, people that, it's just astonishing. And for them, it's kind of like nothing. So, but it only happens through entrepreneurship. And I think the other part around that is, even with me, when I work 9 to 5, I would go into rooms and I wouldn't know anybody. I would just be there. But as an entrepreneur, in the spaces I've been working in, it's phenomenal, the kind of people that we meet and we engage with. And, hopefully our kids benefit from those relationships as they grow older.
I love how Camille brings up the idea of starting to, really hone in on your child's talents and sort of try to monetize them, because eventually, they're going to have to make money, and they might as well make money doing something that they like. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I've been slow with coming out with these highlights, but hopefully the next one will be out in the next couple days. The anniversary episode is also coming up, so look forward to that next weekend, and have a good rest of your day. If you guys would like to follow the podcast, you can do that on Instagram and Twitter at NTY Podcast. If you would like to follow anybody that was mentioned in this highlight episode, please just go to the description and their social media, and also the episode that they were first featured on should be on there also. So please check that out. Please check out the social media. If you want to check out the website, I just updated it, ntnypodcast.com. If you would like to follow the podcast, you can do that on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or just something that you want to share, you can send those emails to ntnypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon.